Your next promotion is just the beginning, and this podcast shows you how to get there. Welcome to episode number 167. In today's episode, I'm showing you the action of confidence. What are some of the actual words that can come out of your mouth on a regular basis that create more confidence within you? And not only that, it helps you appear more confident to all of the executive leaders around you. We don't have to wait until we become more confident. We can start acting our way to confidence right now. And this episode is going to show you how to do that. Let's get started. Welcome to Women Changing Leadership. I am your host, Stacy Mayer, and I teach you how to get promoted, get paid, and bring your whole self to the leadership table. I am on a mission to change organizations from the C-suite out because women are the new face of leadership, and we are doing it on our terms. Hello, corporate badasses. Welcome to another episode of Women Changing Leadership. I am your host, Stacy Mayer, and super excited, as always, to be here with you again this week. Our coaching calls inside of Executive ahead of time are flooded with huge wins and also small wins. So huge wins like I did what you said and I got a promotion. And small wins like the one that was posted today inside of our Facebook group where a woman shared she was on an interview and instead of just taking the information, so basically the interviewer told her that she was not right for the job. And instead of just taking that as fact, she inquired with him more, what would it take to be right for that job? What would he need to see if he was going to consider her for that job? And then he gave her a whole bunch of information, right? Isn't that lovely? And that points to exactly what I'm going to share with you in today's podcast episode. It is the language of confidence. What are some sentences that we can say that actually make us, one, appear more confidently, but also be more confident? I hear from women all the time that they just need to work on their confidence. And if they feel more confident, then they'll be ready, right? Then, the reason that their interviews aren't working, the reason that they're not getting a promotion, the reason that they're not included in conversations with their boss is because they're just not confident enough. Now, I want you to ask yourself, if you're working on your quote unquote confidence, and you're constantly telling yourself that you just need to be more confident, do you think that that is going to lead to more confidence? The answer is no. It's actually a little bit of failing ahead of time because really what you're doing is on a regular basis, you're telling yourself that you're not ready, that you're not good enough yet. And in Module 1 inside of Executive ahead of time, I work with my women on finding their leadership style. This isn't something that we're creating out of thin air. They're actually looking at how they lead and what are the things that they do naturally right now already. And when they're able to identify what those things are, then they're able to communicate that to other people. This isn't going out and getting more confident. This is doing the work, the action of confidence. What are the things? What are the questions that we need to be both asking ourselves, but more importantly, asking other people that create that confidence? So the example that I shared with you at the beginning of the episode, where the woman said, hey, what would it take for me to be seen as that level that you're talking about? When she asked that question, she instantly felt more confident. She didn't go out and create confidence. She didn't think, in the next interview, I'm going to feel more confident and then I'm going to do better. In the moment, she asked a question which I specifically told her to ask, and she got more information, and now she instantly feels more confident. The other thing is I guarantee you that person interviewing her saw her as a confident leader. You see how this works? Sometimes there are just words that can come out of our mouth instantaneously that create more confidence. We can be more confident in an instant. And continuously telling ourselves that we just need to be more confident is not the way we're going to get there. The way we're going to get there is to listen to today's podcast episode. I'm going to share with you a couple of words, a couple of sentences, a couple of questions that you can begin to ask in your everyday conversations at work that are going to instantly help you, one, feel more confident, and also two, appear more confident to the executive leaders around you. Sound good? All right, let's get going. I have a lot of ideas to share with you today. So the first one is in your one-on-one conversations with your boss. Now, a lot of you are just doing regular weekly check-ins with your boss where you just do status updates and you have these conversations and you wait to be told what to do, or you just present all of the different things that you're working on. So first of all, I want to remind you that my point of view is that in addition to our weekly status calls, I'm not saying that those calls are wrong or bad, that we're also having more engaged professional development conversations. But even in the weekly status updates, I want you to share with your boss why something that you're working on specifically is working. So what you're going to do is you're going to have your status update and you're going to tell your boss different things that you were able to accomplish last week, say. And then I just want you to add one little sentence as to why you felt like what you were able to accomplish was easy for you. Why you felt that you were able to even accomplish it. Why you felt that you were able to accomplish it in half the time expected, right? So what is it specifically unique about you that allowed you to be able to confidently complete that project, right? So you're just going to think about that ahead of time. I know that you think about your status update ahead of time, and these are the things that you want to share with your boss. So just add in why you think it was successful. And then I'd love for you to actually communicate that to your boss so then you can start to feel more confident. Because not only did you complete that project, but there's a reason that you were good at it. Okay? That is going to lead to more confidence. The next thing I want you to do, or something else, you can pick any of these as a choose your own adventure episode, is you are going to let your boss know if you are having 15-minute ally meetings with other leaders at your organization. So you can say something like, you know what, 2 weeks ago, I had a meeting with the CFO and she mentioned something to me about XYZ. Amazing. If you start sharing with your boss about other meetings that you're having with other executive leaders, it shows your boss how much of a badass that you are, how proactive you are, how serious you are about building those relationships and connections. And that makes you feel more confident because you're able to express, hey, this is what I'm working on. This is the work that I'm doing. Plus, your boss starts to see you as that confident, badass leader. Another idea for you is to let your boss know what your plan is. We just had a conversation inside of Executive ahead of time where a woman was talking about how she just started a role and she was really, really far into the weeds. And part of the reason that she felt like she needed to be really far into the weeds is because there was a lot going on at this particular organization. It was a startup. And a lot of the executive leaders were very far into the weeds. And what I suggested to her was, it's not actually bad that you're in the weeds right now because it sounds like there's a lot of stuff that has to get done. But what you want to communicate to your boss is your overall plan, right? That you have a plan to get out of the weeds. So even if you're stuck in the weeds right now, or you're working really hard around the clock for a certain deliverable, you're going to actually communicate your plan to your boss. So this is going to look a little bit like 2 sentences. Hey, I worked on all of these things this week, and I'm really proud of being able to accomplish this, and I was able to hit this, and I was able to do this. And, I'm sort of thinking about over the next 6 months, I really look forward to building out a team so that then I can offload some of these projects to other people on my team, and then therefore be able to elevate my leadership and be able to continue engaging in these higher level conversations, right? So if she says that in a conversation, she's going to instantly feel more confident because she's not going to feel like, oh my God, I'm going to be in the weeds forever and this is career suicide. And she's also confidently communicating to her boss that she has a plan, right? That she actually sees the bigger picture. And so then therefore he starts to see her as a confident executive leader. Yay! I love these tips. I come up with new tips and exciting new ideas every single day. And this is why the weekly coaching is so important inside of Executive Ahead of Time. So somebody will bring one of their questions and I will answer it for everybody in the room. And then anybody who wants to can try it out in real time and really see, did this make me feel more confident? It is incredible. So if you are somebody who tries out one of these 3 things that I've already mentioned, I want you to let me know. Definitely either write a review on Apple, iTunes, or whatever so that other people can know what's working, that you used exactly what I said and instantly got that recognition. You felt more confident. And then on the flip side, just shoot me a note. Let me know, because everybody who is doing this work is changing leadership. When we start to show up in this more confident way in real time through actual action, right? Through actually putting our words into action and really creating a different result for ourselves, that is how we're not only going to get promoted into those higher executive leadership positions, but we're going to feel confident once we get there, right? We're going to be creating that pathway for ourselves. So now I have a few more tips for you when you're in larger meetings. This is something that can be incredibly intimidating for a lot of people, and especially if English is your second language or you don't feel confident in the room, like maybe you're the most junior person in the room and you feel like there's a lot of loud voices and very opinionated voices in the room, which is pretty typical for a lot of women that I work with. And so if you're somebody like that and wishing that you could feel more confident in these higher, larger executive level conversations, here's some things that you can do really, really quickly and very easily to just boost that confidence. The first thing I'd like you to try is referring to other people in the room. So don't make it about you, right? One of the reasons that we get so intimidated is because when we raise our hand, it's all about us. So we're like, oh, I better be good. I hope I say something. I hope I say the right thing. I hope nobody asks me any follow-up questions because I haven't really thought them out yet, right? But instead, you can be like, oh, I was talking to Jim the other day and he brought up this thing, right? You can actually say that. Or I know Jim probably has some input on this. Or if somebody says something in the room before you speak, then you can refer to that and then talk about your idea. Not everything has to be always about you to make you look good. It makes you look good when you talk and bring other people into the conversation. So that's one thing. You can just start to refer to other people. That will get you confidently speaking up. And then it also shows you as a confident leader because you're not so needy and graspy and always talking about me, which is what we're so afraid of, right? So you're able to defer responsibility, which makes you appear more confident. And then eventually you'll start to feel that confidence for yourself. Another thing that you can do inside of larger meetings is just ask a question. So if you want to have more visibility and you feel like I don't really have anything to share, you can ask a good question. You can ask for further clarification. You can ask them, have they thought about XYZ? You can ask them, so when you said that, what exactly did you mean? Or how will you know if this is successful? Or, there's a myriad of questions that you can ask. And if you're not sure what types of questions would be most appropriate and not offend anybody, then listen to the questions that other leaders in the room are asking. So for your next meeting, you could just write down what are some of the questions that got asked in the meeting. And then in your meeting following that, then you can just confidently ask a question. Be ready to ask a question, and that'll show you as being more visible. You'll still be included in the conversation, even if you don't have anything specific to add. Another thing that you can do, especially for a lot of the people that I work with have been working at their organizations for like 18 years. And if that is the case, then you could say something about in the past. So when we did this in the past, it was, we had a lot of success, or, oh my gosh, that reminds me of the great failure of 2007, right? Like, anything like that is going to make you feel more confident because you're going to be tying it in to your tenure at the organization. You're going to be talking and connecting your value as having been there for a very, very long time. So when you talk about things that happened at your organization in the past, maybe another group that you worked with and had to deal with something similar, it's going to make you feel more confident. And it's going to make you look good because you've been at this organization for a very long time. So you have a great scope. You have a good idea of what everybody else is working on. And last but not least, but also one of the most important things that you can do for yourself when you're going into a meeting is have a pre-meeting. So I just had a conversation with a woman inside of the leadership table who is presenting a very big idea to her CEO. And she was working with 2 other C-suite executives, and the 3 of them had gotten together and they were putting together a project and presenting it. And this project was clearly driven by one of the C-suite executives. So he's basically going to lead the conversation. He also has the CEO's ear. And what she doesn't want to be seen as is somebody who's just like an assistant on this project. She wants it to be partially her idea. She wants it to be involved in it as if this is my opinion. This is what I see could work. And I told her, why don't you ask the person who's presenting it if you can just introduce it? Right? So he can still present the idea, but even having you go first is going to have you be more involved in the conversation throughout the whole thing. So this is something that she would do in a pre-meeting, a meeting before the meeting, is she would actually talk to her colleague and say, hey, can I just kick this off? And then obviously I will turn it over to you to do the presentation. That's going to help her feel more confident in the meeting, because if we don't talk, the longer we don't talk, the less confident we feel, right? If 40 minutes of the meeting goes by and you haven't said anything, then you're going to feel less and less and less and less confident. So if you speak up first, you're going to feel more confident. And how do we do that besides just being like, let me go first, is you do a pre-meeting. You actually ask to go towards the beginning of the conversation, which is going to automatically make you appear more confident. Another thing that you can do in the pre-meeting is you can ask somebody to refer to you. So if you have a mentor or a colleague, or you could say, I really want to make sure that the CEO knows that I'm a part of this project as well. Can you just mention me when you're speaking? And don't let these things happen by chance. Right? Don't just hope that that person's going to mention you. Let them know that they should mention you. This is really, really important. So in this case, you're going to feel confident just because you thought about it, just because you thought to ask to begin with. And you're also going to feel more confident because when that person does mention you, you're going to have this open door to be able to then speak up. You're going to be able to include yourself in the conversation. Then somebody else is going to mention you and be like, oh, you know what? That person is so amazing and we should bring her into the conversation, right? All of these things lead to more and more and more confidence. There are so many ways that we can go about being confident, but the one that is truest to me and the one that I see work over and over and over again is taking action. When we take action, we feel more confident. When we take strategic action, we feel more confident. When we plan out our words ahead of time, we feel more confident. When we start to express ourselves in a way that sounds more confident, we feel more confident. And so this is what I want you to take away from today's episode, is that it's not a flaw. It's not a character flaw that you're not confident enough. It is simply you're not saying the words that make you, one, appear more confident, but two, feel more confident. So if you can start adding these tips into your daily conversations with your boss, into your larger weekly meetings, you're going to start to feel and act more confidently, and other people are going to take notice, which will lead to even more and more and more confidence. All right, go out there, go get them. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you next week. Bye.